So, it was recently brought to my attention while I was streaming Resident Evil that the Chameleos Longsword was actually really, really good. And ever since I was told about that, I couldn't stop thinking about it while I was playing, and I was like, you know what? I need to actually look at this. Look at this longsword and try to make a build around it. Because looking back at when I made my Camellia Steel Blades video, and was looking at the weapons, I did notice that the longsword did benefit a lot from handicraft. And I did notice it had high attack. And I did notice it had a lot of affinity on it. And I guess I just never put together that I should try to make a build around it. But apparently this is what a lot of speedrunners are using. And as we know, speedrunners are never wrong and they know the best, so always trust speedrunners. No, obviously you shouldn't even trust me. What do I know? But the Chameleos Longsword is actually really good, and may arguably be better than Tigrex or Nargacuga in the right hands. Or in the wrong hands, in anyone's hands. It depends. But this build was actually really hard to put together, and I can see why people don't use this longsword, because it was difficult to put this build together, and you will need a decent talisman to do so if you want to make it as good as you possibly can. As gooder as possible. So let's take a deep dive into the build. So this is what it is. We have actually 50% base affinity with max might, mind you. And max might on longsword is actually pretty nice, being that you don't really use stamina. Looking at the weapon itself, has blue sharpness, but for every level of handicraft, gives it 10 hits of white, and a 15% affinity, and the 2-slot make this a really high contender against Tigrex and Nargacuga Longsword. It has about the same sharpness with 2 handicraft as the Tigrex, so it's got that. But as you can see, compared to the Tigrex, that negative 20% affinity is terrible, and no 2-slot it makes it really hard to build for Tigrex. So you're never gonna really hit. The only way you would hit 100% affinity with the Tigrex longsword is if you use latent power maximite on top of 7 crit eye. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting at you're gonna be sitting at non 100% affinity no matter what. So this longsword is surprisingly good, or maybe not to a lot of people's surprise, but I almost see no one ever use it in any of my hunts. So we have 100% on weak points with the crit eye, max might, and weakness exploit. I have Master's Touch slotted in just to the various 2 slots. This chest piece I'm using over my favorite fishy chest piece because it does have quick sheath, a level of max might, and a 2-slot, so you get three important skills on it. Magnum Hollow gloves are for the handicraft and a 2-slot. This is because we're not using attack. You don't really have that many options for coils if you're not using attack. So you kind of just want to just throw this on. Because it's just for slots, just for custom slots here. And because we're not using attack, we're using the Kadachi Greaves for the 2 crit eye and the 2-slot. The talisman may make or break this build, but worst case scenario, you're just not going to have 3 quick sheath. My talisman has 2 quick sheath and 2 level 2 slots. So I essentially have like 4 valuable skills on this. You can make this work with a different talisman. You're just not going to have full quick sheath more than likely. But this is mostly for slots. But this was the best version of the build I could make. The other versions here that I made, just to see what I could come up with. This version here is using the fishy chest piece, and we have handicraft slotted in instead on the fishy chest piece, and on the chrome waist And the difference is we don't have Master's Touch, but we have one more crit eye, and we also have one less quick sheath, sadly. So if you don't want to use Max Might, I don't know, I think I said we don't have Master's Touch. No, we have Master's Touch. We don't have the level of Max Might. So we actually lose 2 skills. So this is probably this is the worst version of the build, actually. So I don't know why I showed you, even though that's using the same talisman. This was just the first build I came up with. Don't use this one. The other version of the build though was messing around with. I just wanted to see if you want, you can just go old school with no Master's Touch. With no Master's Touch here, and I was able to put in 3 handicraft, and I just slapped on 3 quick sheath talisman with a 3 slot. So in 3 handicraft, have 7 crit eye. It's kind of like an old school kind of build. Again, these talismans may be a little hard to get. You probably don't have them. It's so hard to get a specific talisman that you see in a build video. But worst case scenario, you'll have something similar, and you'll just lose either a quick sheath or a crit eye. But if you have a similar talisman to the one I have, I would use this build. Well, not that. That's Dual Blades. I would use this build. Alternatively, if you don't like Master's Touch, you could always put in Protective Polish. So you don't have to worry about weak points or getting crits or anything. I would not recommend Razor Sharp, being that Razor Sharp is most effective with like having more wide sharpness, being that it just like makes your sharpness degrade slower, and it's not based off getting crits. But you know, to each their own. But this is arguably more efficient than the Tigrex, but just a little harder to build for. But Tigrex is hard to build for as well, which is why people just use Nargacuga, especially for Longsword. But this is a really cool option. As far as the skill on the weapon is concerned, the ramp up skill, or the rampage ramp up, Chameleos Soul is iffy. So if you just want to do the 2 attack, you can. But I feel like you might as well just use the Chameleos Soul, because 2 attack, the level 2 attack isn't that great. Whereas the Chameleos Soul, you have a good chance, 25% chance to proc the attack buff, which is pretty decent. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see more people using this longsword over. Wow, this thing actually looks really cool. It like turns invisible. What? This is actually really cool. Okay, even if I wow, okay. I would just use this for fashion, honestly. I would just use this for fashion. This thing looks really cool. With, like, the whole Invisi thing. Okay. So, I never liked the look of Tigrex weapons. Nargacuga weapons look pretty cool. Longsword's kind of, like, okay looking. But this, I would just use this on fashion alone, even if this was worse than Tigrex and Nargacuga. This thing's pretty cool. But it's arguably better than Tigrex just because it has just a decent amount less attack, but positive affinity and a 2 slot. So, highly recommend. I'm not saying this is the new meta now and this is the best longsword, but keep in mind that Kashela, Teostra, and Chameleos weapons are being upgraded with the next Monster Rise update. So, mark my words, this is probably going to be the next meta longsword, being that it's probably going to have base wide and higher attack. Unless the Tigrex and Nargacuga weapons get upgrades, it's probably going to be the next meta longsword. So, hope you guys enjoyed this this build video. Subscribe, leave a comment. Follow my Twitch, please. I'm going to be messing around with this build once I hop on. And until next time, bye-bye, and have a good day.